So so they converted it. So let us think from this perspective, m into n column, right? So you queried something, you got these rows, many rows. Okay. So we spoke about this, right? So now I am not dealing with only one record. So this one record has many columns. So this is my one, you could say it as a class. Sometimes we call it as a class, or we call it as an object, or you call it as an instance, or you call it as a reference variable. All mean same. They we use interchangeably. They do have a meaning, you know, when you use it with a perspective, but then people use it interchangeably, yeah, because of the limited knowledge or whatever you say. You could, so this one row actually represents one, either one class. In this context, these all mean same: class, object, instance. Yeah, as such, it is an instance of a certain class. If I say this as an employee table, employee is a class, and these all rows, they represent instances of the employee. Okay, so this is one class. This came as a SQL output. In the Java, what you did, you would have a class called employee, where whatever came from these columns, right, you would have defined them as a columns. Okay, column 1, column 2, column 3, these all would be, you know, you call them as variables. Okay, because each row will have their different values. So when this came into a Java class, so what now your class is what? Your class is called a POJO, plain old Java object. It is a carrier. It is carrying this data. In this technology, Oracle technology, you stored this data into the disk, right? Yeah, but it is shown to you as a table and rows. But when the same data was pulled into a Java environment, it got converted into a Java object. The data is held in a Java object. When I query, if I want to see how the data is, I will see it as, oh, this class, this object employee, and name has a value is equal to whatever, it has a value is equal to Sri Purna. Okay. And then this Java program converts it into an XML. Now I print this XML, I will see the name is equal to Sri Purna. And then when it is sent to this is sent as HTML. It would be put into an HTML. There is a transformation happening at each and individual layer, right? Because this understands only Oracle engine. This understands Java language. Your UIs will understand only HTML language. Yeah, so this is a transformation. So now this is a different perspective. We just understood the class, right? But now the class, we are seeing it as a POJO. Okay, so POJO is the how do you make use of Java? Java objects are used as a carrier, where we call them as a bean, or we call them as a POJO, where it holds only values. We'll talk about that encapsulation, what Shripurna was telling, right? So it is just a plain old Java object. It is just being working as a carrier. It is not functioning anything. It is not doing a great significant, it does not have a great significant behavior. It is just a pass through, right? It is holding that values, holding that data. But then there can be very intelligent Java classes where you do whole lot of your processes. But then you have you convert that Java into an XML, because you don't want to transmit your object itself, because objects are little heavier, because those objects are being made for us. We are humans, we don't understand the binary language. It's so difficult for us to understand the binary, right? So this language has been made for us, and it is little heavier. When the data transmits through the wire, you still have to transmit it through 1 zeros, and you don't want to transmit the objects, because the objects are little heavier. It has a literal meaning, right? It goes class XYZ. If you have to transmit all this, it is going to take unnecessary memory in your network. So hence you convert it into an XML or a JSON. You make it light. When the way in the phone, the way you talk over phone to your friends, colleagues, or whomsoever, do you really do the same thing when you are sending a letter? You try to keep it concise, right? So it's like that. The message, when you're sending it, you will make sure that it is condensed, yeah, and it is concise, and you send that, you convert that into an XML, because when you're transmitting, it has to be lighter. Yeah, XML is also believed to be little heavier, because you will have a tag like name, and one more name here. So they made it a JSON. So in the JSON, you will have only one of this. You would not have this. So second ending tag wouldn't be there. So JSON is much appreciated because it becomes in the marshalling, demarshalling, it helps you. Okay. So this, think from this perspective also. So now what we said, just to repeat, we are saying Java is for everything, right? It is a programming language. You are doing a programming, but what programming are you going to do? The data is stored somewhere, and I'm going to transmit this data from here to here, and I'm going to convert this data into my Java objects. So my Java, what is the capability of a Java? I can easily divide, classify everything. I can see it as an object. I can hold the data and I can work on that data. So where will I work on the data? I will have a certain specific functions where I will work on that data. But then I can hold that data also. Only those classes which are meant for holding the data, to keep them simple, are called Pojo or Beans. Where I do a certain things, they are called certain, they are called in a different way. You know, if you have heard about model view controller, so you would get to know. Okay, so mostly in any Java applications you go, there will be whole lot of Pojos. Lot of classes will be just to be representing the table, because it is just a carrier. They are carrying the data. That's it. Okay, they have a specific usage, and then whole lot of other classes are done for your processing. You know, the data processing. You want to do some processing there. Okay, if you know MVC architecture, view stands for view. You know, you are making an HTML and sending it, because you are sending it to the UI. Your model is your database. Okay, how the data model we say, right? Database. So here it will be Pojos, how you will do. And then your controller is that which is helping you to send this data from here to here. It is sent via here. This is the controller. You know, there'll be a whole lot of controller classes, and then there'll be a business logic, and so you're just segregating them. Once again, this architecture is helping you to segregate the way, you know, you are going and querying the database and getting it. Your controller has those classes which is helping. So MDM people, they also have a written an architecture where they've beautifully designed it for your easiness. I'll stop here for questions. Are we super clear?
Sir, one doubt, sir. Apart from this OOPS concept, I mean, what are all the other, I mean, applications that we use in Java?
So you could use it as a procedure language also. Mostly people write that bad way. They do not make use of the Java's use, right? For example, we shall talk more in coming days. You know, there is something called interface. We'll talk about it. What is an interface, right? We spoke little bit on inheritance. We shall talk more. We shall talk on overloaded functions, overriding functions. We'll talk about all that in coming days. Okay, and then you have something called Hibernate. Yeah, this is a framework which is very famous. You have a Spring, which is very famous Spring framework. You have Struts, which is very famous. And then you have something called Entity Beans. It's also a framework. Yeah, we shall talk in coming days. Yeah, not in this session, but we shall talk. And then we just spoke about primitive data types, right? Yeah, and then we spoke about object data types, right? So then you have something called collection data types. In the collection, I just spoke, right? Your rows, you are taking 10 rows. How will you take the 10 rows? You have to take those 10 rows into a collection. When you go to a dress shop, right, for shopping, you say, okay, show me the best collection. And sometimes we say, hey, you do not have a lot of collections. We say that, right? What do we mean by a collection? Collection is something which is more than one. Yeah, or we call it as a set. You know, when you go to a shop and you say, show me the set, cup set, because it is inclusive of 12, but then each one of those will be unique. The set will not have a repeated things, but list can have something like that. You have map and all. So Java, I mean, any programming for that matter, you will have this. Only difference is Java is giving you these features to hold the data, because you're storing the data like that, right? With whatever Java is giving you, is it is helping you to write the code in any way. You store these references and you use the way you want. I'll give you an example. I have let me write a class. I will write a class as a, a customer. Okay, and I will write a reference variable as a list. And what type of list it is? List of complaint. Okay, I will name it as list complaint is equal to null. I'm declaring it. So what do I mean by here? So this customer will definitely have many complaints, right? He would have not raised one complaint. Agree? So I am going to capture whole lot of his complaints. Maybe I will capture complaints raised by a certain customer in one day or 1 month. That could be my frequency. But then this list, this collection is telling me, helping me to store many complaints of that. But then this, what is this list? This is a collection of complaint object. Complaint will be a certain class. It will be a separate class altogether. Complaint. Okay. Earlier I told you that, you could have referred to this as a complaint. Okay. Complaint is equal to null. This is my reference variable where I have referred an object itself. But then the next you see, I have referred a list, and that list is of this object. There could be 1,000 million objects, but then if you store million objects, your RAM will crash. Your RAM will be very limited memory, right? So depending on that, you make the list, because this is a collection. Are you getting me? So likewise, there are collections, map, everything has a specific usage of it. You use it as per your need. You understand why they are used, then you will know which one to use when. Okay. I will give you a more relevant example of MDM, because when you see MDM code, this all will become very easy. Okay. So how MDM folks have written their code is, they have made something called T. T stands for transaction. CRM, customer relationship management. They made party BOBJ. Okay. They have written certain class like this. And inside this class, they referred to TCRM organization BOBJ. Okay. TCRM org BOBJ is equal to null. Okay, and then they made list of TCRM address BOBJ. Yeah, some TCRM address BOBJ is equal to null. So likewise, this object itself will have many things inside them. So I referred one object, and inside that I'm taking a list of this, or there could be a list of, so there could be a list of this itself, TCRM contract BOBJ. I'm just making it up. Okay, so they would have referred. So when I am making this object, I can easily go and set this object, or I could make a list of these thing and do it. This is my blueprint. The way I want to use it, I will use it. Are you all with me?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. So let us now see few examples, right? What you all have written, and then I will just talk about it. I'll go with first come first, right? Raghu had sent the first one, so I will go with Raghu first. Is it? Where was it sent? Okay. So this is Raghu's program. Yes, Raghu had written it in a certain package. He named the package, but there is way to write the package. Generally, when you write a package, you do it like this: which company this package is being written, which module it is being written, and then which sub module, something like that. There is a convention. Please get used to that. Yeah, so that you get a practice when you are. So he imported certain things because he was in need of these things, so he imported this. So this Java SQL Connect has come with the Java. He has not taken it, he did not download it from an UI and all, but then the ID what he is using may have given this, but then this jar was available when he downloaded the JDK install. Okay, so he imported it. Why do we have to import? Because we are using certain thing. This class I am using it, you see here, and hence I had to import it. So I will not go deeper into it. Hope you get why the import is used. Now yeah, he has written it perfectly. So class name should always start from T, like in the English language when you use the names for noun, you use the capital letters, right? Likewise, this always starts with T. Likewise, he has written it very proper. A lot of you have made a lot of mistakes. So here your function always starts with a small letter. Yeah. So yeah, and your variable will always starts with a small letter, whereas your class will be a capital letter. And then there is a proper indentation. You see, so you have written a class, your lot of IDs. So your class is started here and it is ending here. Okay, and there is a proper indentation, right? So next method, there is one tab. Yeah, and then when there is something else is written, there is another tab. So all these are very, very important, because when you write a program, when we see it, this indentation itself helps us to read it properly. Okay, so and then he made use of something which is already available, connection. Why is he making a connection? Because he is trying to talk to the Oracle server. He is sitting on certain server and he is trying to talk to the Oracle server. How do he talk? How can he talk? So there is already a package given where you could easily do it. Somebody has already written a connection class and he is making use of that class. So he declared a class. See this? He declared a class. He made a reference variable of this connection class. Connection class somebody else has written. So here he reference variable, it is in a small letter here. And then this reference variable, he can get it through another class. Another class has been written, driver manager dot get connection. It has a static method called get connection. And to this get connection, when he passes three variables, the URL, the address of that DB, where it is located, because they're trying to talk to them. The Swiggy guy is going to that address. He is giving that security token, OTP, what is being shared, username, password, and then he gets a connection. Yeah, to talk further. So this driver manager, if you see this get connection, it is returning a connection instance, hence it is caught in the connection here. And then a string is made, a simple string, that is a SQL query. Once again, very well written, but then this could have been, this camel case is what we say, like here D is small but then U is capital. Username, this is how it is called, a camel case. Yeah, when two words are joined together, the next word becomes a camel, right? It's a camel, you see, right? The head is small, but then suddenly your neck or whatever, yeah, it is little higher than your neck or something like that. So camel case is called. So then he is getting 10 rows from here, and then another class which is already written. This is a standard thing. If you want to connect to a database, somebody has written the code, but you want to write, you can write it all by your own. But then somebody has written, you need not have to take that headache, right? So somebody has written connection dot create statement. They are creating a statement. Why do you have to create a statement? So this statement is taken, execute query, and when internally you can go and read the Java docs, they will tell you what actually is happening. So you are executing that query, using that query, you are executing it using that statement. Statement is something in your Oracle world, you call it as a DDL. You go and DML, you go absurd, that kind of query, right? So that is what it is. So, and then they gave you a result set. So result set is nothing but a simple object, yeah, which will be like this. it will be like your table structure. You can imagine like it is a simple how. Okay, let me draw it and show you. So how the result set will be beneath, right? So you're getting it from certain CONTQ table. So your result set as a class, if I were to write a result set, right? Let me attempt to write the result set class. What I would have written is it grows dynamically, right? Like I will have something, I will have a list of a column because it is indefinite. I really don't know how many columns are. It depends on my input. So if I was writing a result set class, if now he has done select star from, so he's trying to get all the columns, right? His code is saying what? Select star, whatever is available in the CONTQ, he's trying to get that. So if I were to write a Java class, when that statement is sent, when this statement is sent, when this is executed, now it tells me that, okay, there are 10, let us assume 10 columns are there. So I will catch them into 10 columns. So that each of the columns, right? So each of the columns could be of any types. One column could be an integer, like that I will map it, right? So I will have a method, some mapper method inside it. So all this would have been written, somebody would have written it. Depending on your query, what statement dot query you are sending, depending on that result, there will be a mapper. So if in the Oracle, if it is in the Oracle, it is .int, they would have put everything into an integer. In your Java object, they would have put it into, they will make an integer object and they will put that into one generic object class. Okay, so that is what happens. If you don't understand, we will redo it one more time. But then this is how will be a generic result set. What it is going to hold? It is going to hold a matrix M into N, right? Your table, and then that result object, what has come, has a method inside it. This class has a method inside it. Next, the job of that method is it helps you to go to the next and next row. So result dot next, it is going to the first row now. So hence he is able to get in the first column, he's printing this get string. That is another method in your result object. So in that get string, he's getting the first column. In second column, a very generic column, right? So he's getting the second and he's printing it. Okay, and since he is talking with a certain other server, right? So he put it into a try and catch, because he definitely knows that this is bound to fail. He knows that this may fail anytime, right? Because he is trying to talk to a neighbor. You never know what will happen. So hence he has put it in a try and catch, because it may fail. You never know that he can trust his code, his instance, but he can't trust the DB instance, right? It may, because he's trying to reach with an IP address. Yeah. So hence he put it into a try and catch block. So this is error handling. He is suspecting that there could be an error and it is not in his hands, and hence he wants to catch that. If something is going wrong, he wants to catch and print it. Yeah, that is why he wrote a try and catch block. Any questions in this?
Sir, like one thing I have made a mistake here, that hardcore print type is there, right, for column name. Actually, I am not getting on that one only. The above print statement.
Okay.
For like 2 columns. That one I was not really getting how to write. So just made it there hardcore. So like
name to get the name of that column and then do it.
Yes, particular column we want to give name. So I have given the like space more just
No,
to
I
fit
think
with
just to see in the result instance, right? This is an instance of this, right? Check,
yes.
do a dot and do a control space in your IDE. Okay, control space. It will tell you what all methods it gives. So it will also have a method called get column name and that index. You put in what first column name, you send a pass one as an input into it. It will give you the first column. You getting me?
Okay.
Right? But you will have to study this class, what all it is offering.
Yes.
It will be offering many methods.
Okay.
Okay. So I think Shruti's class also I have seen, it
I
is
have,
mostly same.
sir, I have one doubt
Yeah.
that we cannot control the aesthetic of that table, like how in SQL we get a table format. Here also, like if we have to get it in a table format itself, because here like spaces and all, we have to judge how much space, and then he has given that.
Mhm. So when you
s-
say aesthetic, what do you mean?
I mean, like since it acts as a middle layer, so when we are getting through a UI, there is there any I mean code that controls the aesthetic part of that table format? Get 10 rows, or like here only it is possible to get it in a table format, proper structured format.
So
we are talking about output, sir. While
Output, sir.
Mhm. So a good question. What I mean, if I understand your question, you're saying I want to print it like a table. The way
Table.
I see it in the SQL editor, I do a select star from and it shows me a table structure. I want to see that,
Yes. Yes, sir.
right?
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
A good question. I would say yes and no. Okay. Yes, if you use a Java applet programming. So there is something called Java applet programming where you can make the diagrams, right? So you have to, so what you are saying is you are using a Java technology and you want to print it like this. And I know
what's
why.
happening is, sir, while getting the output, the columns and the values are jumbled, so we are not getting the respective value at the respective column.
You will get it if you see a get, you use a right index. Okay, the column index, like get column. What happened?
So I mean, sir, the spaces I mean, we can get the first index, second index, third index, but the spaces we have to judge between those three columns, and then the record should be below that. So I was thinking maybe because the purpose is here only just to hold those records, that I mean that
You mean to
feature.
say this spaces?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay, that is a different thing. Okay, I was understanding this thing. Okay, let me finish this and I'll talk about that. So if you want to print it like this itself, this is a matrix, right? This is your table. You want to print it like this? Yes, it is possible. But then with Java 12 and all, they have made it very easy. They are giving the package where you could print like this. But then Java is a programming language, right? It is not possible with a simple classes what you are using. You can print. The data is coming inside an object. It is coming inside a result set object, right? So result set will have now when it comes, it would have come as column 1, column 2, column 3, how much so you have dynamically you have requested, right? It would have come for column 1. It will have these values, whatever value you have, right? Column 2, it will have this value. Column 3, it will have these values. Okay, so ideally if you go and try to print your result set object itself, what it would have come is object 1. Inside this object 1, column 1, yeah, for the column 1 what is the value, for column 2 what is the value, for column 3 what is the value, like this 10 objects would have got repeated, and that is what you're trying to get string you are doing, right? Get string from 1 object 1, get string from object 2. Yeah, that is what you're trying to do. Okay, but then for your question, Shruti, what you are trying to ask is that aesthetic. It's not an aesthetic, actually it is just a string, right? What you, if you have studied this system.out.println, system is a class once again given by Java. Okay, out is a method inside it. Print line, ln stands for line, so it is you're trying to print a line. Agree? So this is a method inside a system class. Okay, they have written this class and there is a method, and this takes an input. What is that input you are giving? You are giving a string as an input. Okay, you gave one string, right? You wrote x, y, z, something, and then you are this is what this you are writing the column name, right? And then you want to write the value of that column. Agree? Okay, so you are trying to ABC plus your value 10. You are trying to print. So of course it will print it like this. Because this is a string. This is taking a string. You go and study println, keep a cursor on it, it will tell what it is taking. What you are trying to do is you're trying to concatenate two string plus, right? So unless you give it like this space plus 10, it is not going to understand string, right? So then it will add a space and then it will print it as 10. You following me? It is nowhere related to Oracle. Oracle understands only your SQL. You sent in a statement query that Oracle gave you the response as a Oracle response, and that Oracle response was converted into a Java object by your result set. That is why you are using all these classes which are pre-written, right? That is why you need a Java database connectivity. JDBC, Java and database connectivity. You are connecting and it is converting it into a Java and is making it easy for you. You getting me? But that when you get the data, you are printing it. How are you printing it? You are using your own methodology, right? Yeah, where it is a string and you're just adding that space and writing it. This is just a string, nothing more. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, but in Python, they're little advanced now. Why Python people like it is they don't want this thing also, right? What you do is in the Python, they give you an object called data frame. Whatever select star from 10 you take and you print that data frame, you will easily see the data frame. That is the difference between Java and Python. That's why people like Python. You get me? But then in Java also that is coming. Now they are calling it as a data set. They have inside of result set, right? Result set is a representation of your tabular data into an object view, right? But then what you are asking is give me a tabular view itself. Why should I see it as a conversion of as an object view? I want it as a tabular view itself because it for my mind to easily grasp it, it is so easy for me. You give me, I am fetching the data in a table. I am fetching the data in a table like this, and I want to see the output also like this, right? So Python gives you easily because they have made an object called data frame. In Java 12, I think they have something now called data set. I'm not 100% sure, but then I'm pretty sure with evolution of Java, they would have also brought in this feature. Yeah. So now I will go to the next class, which was Sripurna's class. So Sripurna has done it in an encapsulation way, right? So I think, okay, we'll close this topic alone today. Rest of things we shall see tomorrow. Okay. So he chose to do the encapsulation. So what do we mean by encapsulation? Okay, I would explain it. Okay, so what has he written? Cont a private contiguous string set. Okay, maybe Sripurna, why did we write it this way?
As you mentioned that we can do it in if you can't able to connect to database, so we can able to do it in creating the Java bean and
right. So this is a Java bean you have created. Good. Then so tell me what is encapsulation.
To my level of understanding, encapsulation is making the variables private and accessing it to the outer world through getter and setter method.
Right, but then you have made everything public. No, your variables are private. Okay. Okay. So what you said is right. Yeah, it is perfectly right. Yeah. So where this helps, right? Your encapsulation, it's widely used in Java. And why did they do it? It's very simple thing. We are trying to encapsulate something. Okay, what do you mean by literal meaning of encapsulate? You're trying to put something around it, right? Yeah, there is a medicine and then they put it in a capsule. Why? Because they don't want that those crystals of medicines to fall apart, or they encapsulate. It's nothing but a packaging, right? They're trying to cover it with certain thing because they do not want it to be misused. That is why you are encapsulating it. Okay, your engines or whatever, for that matter, human beings have been encapsulated with the skin, right? Because we don't want it to be misused. So in Java context, what is that encapsulation? You write something like this, and you could by default, if you don't specify anything, I think by default it takes it to be a public, I believe. Okay, that is what I think. So you make something as int is equal to 0. Now I don't want, because I am writing class for others, right? I'm not making class for me. I'm a package writer, I'm a library writer, I'm a blogger. I am writing a big, and that is my business. I write classes and I sell it for service, right? You come and you use my Google Maps. They write an APIs, you go, we pay for their service. They you use their class, we send the input and they give you the output. You take that output and you put it on your UI. That is a Google service, right? Like this, everybody is service oriented, right? That is what your API is. I call an API, application program interface. That is what it is. I call their API, I send input and they give me output, I show it. So here, when I am going to make use class ABC, I have a function one. Inside this, I am calling XYZ class. XYZ is equal to new XYZ. Okay. When I am calling this XYZ class, I'm instantiating an object of XYZ. I don't want this class to be manipulated. Okay. So when we say manipulated, I don't want to abuse this class. I don't want to, this is written by somebody and I want to protect this variable because this is going to be used by so many people, right? So I will protect this. I will put a private. Okay, so this variable is a private. Only if I have to set a value, if I'm going to make use of XYZ, I will have a method. I encapsulated this variable with this set A. Okay, somebody will send this. Now what they will do is XYZ dot set, they are going to send a value 10. So they will send a value 10, and then what I will do is this dot A is equal to, I'm taking this A and I'm assigning this. So I am not allowed to set a value of this directly. If I did not have this and if I had made this as a public, I could easily set a value directly to that variable. I don't want to do that. Hence, I am taking a little roundabout. I'm encapsulating that data for a security reason. So now there is an XYZ1, but now I also write something called XYZ2, new instance of it. So I will now this variable, this I need to set it one more time. Now this time I'll set it 20. So there is object 1, object 2 having two different A values. Are you all following me? This is purely done for a security reason. Okay, because what happens if we are not doing it this way, sometimes this value will be there, XYZ instance will be there in the memory will be holding that value. It may lead to some conflict when you are writing so many instances of this object. It may lead to a conflict, and hence they went with this approach of encapsulation. Are we getting it? Clear? Super clear? Okay, so what Shripun has done is he made a class called demo. This is just Pojo he has made, and in the Pojo he called that, yeah, and then he is calling that set method, and he has given the hard-coded values where he's setting those values. Yeah, so generally your ID itself will give you a getter and setter. So they will help you to do the getter and setter. You get and you set to the classes, so that we don't want to set the value directly because it has been set private. So you have to go like this. Okay, and then you set the values for this. So now instead of your demo class, this could have been your contQ object. Whatever you get from your database, you set this. Okay, so Shreya's class I have seen, it is almost same. Sridhar's I have not seen. Let me see that. Sridhar also has written same. Let's see, Suraj. Yeah. So Suraj, Suraj has given the direct. He has. So when we were declaring, at the time of declaration itself, he has initialized this variable. Initialized means he has given a value. So now your contq ID cannot really have a different value. You getting me? It has been initialized. He has written a contq class and he already gave. It's a constant. This became a constant now. It's not a variable, because he made a class and he defined a variable, but that variable has been assigned with a value, so it became a constant. Are you all following me? So now if I make multiple instances of this class, always I'm going to get the value of this value only, because it has already been initialized. And during the initialization itself, it has been initialized to a certain value. I can overwrite it. I mean, if I really want, I can go and I can overwrite it. But then if I just print this, every time when I make an instance, there will be a value with this. By default, I will get this because it has been initialized to that. Are you all getting me?
Yeah, yes, sir. I got it.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Getting it right. So generally this way of coding, what we do is we do it only. I want to declare a pi value. I want to declare a certain value. I will put it because this is not subjected to change. That's my static value. I want to put my MDM version or a certain version. I will put it because it is static in nature. I will not put the, if I'm going to use it as a variable, I will declare it as a null because I'm not initializing it. I'm just declaring it. And only when I want to use it, I will initialize it. So these terms are very, very important. Get used to yourself. Class, object, reference variable, scope, method, function, static, private. These are the ones mostly you will use only this in Java, nothing more than this. Collections. Yeah. All right. I'm not seeing Vishwas. Is there a Vishwas thing here? No? Okay, it's here. Vishwa also has the same code. Okay. So I think we are good for today, and I'm gonna